Do you feel like everything is getting more expensive lately? Food, rent, living costs, everything is going up. And then the simplest question appears. How do you cut costs and still have enough to live? Nearly 100 years ago, during the Great Depression, millions of American families faced that same question every day. They did not have much money. They did not have many choices. But they still survived. And let's be honest, people were not cooking to make delicious meals. They were cooking to avoid going hungry. Today, many people call those meals grandma's warm meals, comfort food, or memorable traditions. But the truth is, they were meals of scarcity, cheap, simple, and built around using whatever was left in the house. What is interesting is that most of the ingredients in those meals are not strange at all. Potatoes, beans, tomatoes, cabbage, onions, and if you have a small garden, you can absolutely grow many of them yourself. Today, we are going to look back at the cheap meals that helped our grandparents survive, not just as food, but as a list of ingredients worth having in your garden when you want to save money and become more self-reliant. If you strip away the storytelling around it, you will see four very clear principles. First, they prioritized the cheapest calories. Potatoes, rice, and corn were the main energy base because they were cheap, easy to store, and produced a lot of food. For example, potatoes can yield about 2 to 4 kilograms per square meter after 90 to 120 days, with around 700 to 800 kilocalories per kilogram. Second, protein did not always have to mean meat. Dry beans and lentils contain about 20 to 25% protein by dry weight. When eaten with rice or corn, they create a good enough protein source for basic needs. Eggs are also complete protein, and much cheaper than red meat. Third, there was no such thing as food waste. Potato peels were cooked into soup, cooking water was saved as a base, and leftover fat was used to make sauces. Garbage soup, or perpetual soup, was really a way to use every bit of nutrition when resources were almost zero. Finally, they always stretched food. 1 pound of meat, about 450 grams, was often mixed with rice, breadcrumbs, or oats at a 1-to-1 ratio. Sometimes even 1 to 2, to feed 4 to 6 people instead of only 2. These four principles were not complicated, but they helped an entire generation get through some of the hardest times. The most important question: where do these ingredients come from? The ingredients that once helped our grandparents survive. Potatoes, beans, corn, tomatoes, onions, cabbage, are not something distant or hard to find. They do not require factories, do not need complex technology, and are not entirely dependent on supply chains. Many of them can begin from a small backyard garden. And when you can grow part of your basic food yourself, you are not just getting cleaner vegetables. You are also significantly reducing your weekly grocery costs, especially for ingredients used repeatedly in everyday meals. The garden, an upgraded version of survival food. In the past, our grandparents had to cook cheap meals because they did not have many choices. Today, even though food is available everywhere, many people rely too much on fast food, canned food, and processed products. So looking back at survival food is not about returning to scarcity, but about learning how to eat more simply, more affordably, and more healthily. Each ingredient, like potatoes, beans, tomatoes, cabbage, or onions, is not just part of a meal. It is also a building block you can grow in your own garden. Potatoes, the energy foundation of the meal. For many American families during hard times, potatoes were not a side dish. They were the thing that actually filled you up. Every 100 grams of potatoes provides about 75 to 80 kilocalories, mostly from easily digestible starch, along with potassium and a small amount of vitamin C. The strength of potatoes is their practicality. In a home garden, 1 square meter can yield 2 to 4 kilograms after 90 to 120 days. If stored in a cool, dry, and dark place, potatoes can last 1 to 3 months, so you do not need to consume them immediately. In American kitchens, potatoes can be turned into many cheap meals: potato soup, baked potatoes, mashed potatoes, fried potatoes, or cooked together with beans, eggs, onions, and a bit of bacon or ham hock if available. With just onions, salt, and a little fat, a pot of potato soup can become a full meal. Potatoes help you reduce food expenses and act as the base starch that significantly cuts down the need for store-bought food. 2. Beans, the cheapest protein source in the garden. For many American families in difficult times, dry beans, especially pinto beans, almost replaced meat in many meals. On average, dry beans contain about 20 to 25% protein, and they are high in fiber, helping you stay full longer. When eaten with starches like rice, cornbread, potatoes, or corn, beans create a very filling meal. That is why dishes like rice and beans, pinto beans with cornbread, or beans stewed with a bit of ham hock became classics among poorer Americans. Little meat, but still rich in flavor, smoky aroma, and enough energy. In the garden, beans are also worth growing because they can climb vertically, saving space. Depending on the variety and conditions, yields can reach around 1 to 2 kilograms per square meter. More importantly, legumes form a symbiotic relationship with nitrogen-fixing bacteria, helping improve soil fertility for the next crop. So growing beans does not just reduce your protein costs, you are growing food while rebuilding the nutrient foundation of your soil. 3. Tomatoes, the flavor foundation of cheap meals. Tomatoes do not provide as many calories as potatoes or beans, but they make simple meals much easier to eat. Tomatoes contain vitamin C, lycopene, and a natural sweet-acid balance that helps improve dishes heavy in starch or dry beans. In a home garden, a healthy tomato plant can produce about 3 to 6 kilograms of fruit per season, often harvested continuously over many weeks. This is important. You do not harvest once and stop. You can pick gradually for daily meals. In American cooking, tomatoes can become tomato soup with grilled cheese, marinara sauce for spaghetti, a base for beef stew, stuffed peppers, cabbage rolls, or shakshuka with eggs. Just a few tomatoes can turn beans, potatoes, pasta, or eggs into a much more flavorful meal. So tomatoes are not the crop that fills you up the most, but they are what help you eat cheap food without getting tired of it. Growing your own tomatoes means reducing spending on canned sauces, soups, and processed seasonings. 4. Cabbage, a tool to stretch meals. For many families, cabbage was not just a vegetable. It was a way to turn a small amount of meat into a large pot of food. It is rich in fiber, vitamin C, filling, and much easier to store than many soft greens. In the garden, a single cabbage can weigh about 1 to 2 kilograms, and if stored in a cool place, it can last 2 to 4 weeks. This means you do not need to use it all at once. You can spread it across multiple meals. In the kitchen, cabbage works well in budget-style meals like braised cabbage with sausage, cabbage rolls stuffed with rice and a little ground meat, or cooked with potatoes, onions, and carrots into a large stew. With just a bit of bacon, sausage, or ham hock, a whole pot of cabbage gains much deeper flavor. So cabbage does not make meals more luxurious, but it makes cheap meals more substantial. One cabbage will not make you rich, but it helps ensure you do not go without. 5. Onions and carrots, the base of almost every cheap meal. They do not fill you up like potatoes, and they do not replace meat like beans, but they determine whether a meal has enough flavor to eat day after day. Onions contain sulfur compounds that create aroma when sautéed. Carrots are rich in beta-carotene, a precursor of vitamin A, and add natural sweetness to stews, soups, and broths. In the garden, this group is very worth growing because it does not take much space. Green onions can be cut multiple times and regrow. Carrots usually take about 70 to 90 days to harvest if the soil is loose enough. In American kitchens, onions and carrots are the base for potato soup, lentil soup, beef stew, fried rice, garbage soup, and bean stews. Just sauté onions in a bit of fat, then add carrots, potatoes, beans, or broth, and a cheap meal suddenly gains depth of flavor. If you look at meals of many American families during hard times, you will see this exact structure. Pinto beans with cornbread, sometimes with fried potatoes, or if lucky, a bit of smoked ham hock to add richness to the whole pot. These were not occasional meals. Many families ate like this for both lunch and dinner. In summer, the garden helps meals become less monotonous. A few tomatoes, onions, cabbage, beans, squash, or homegrown greens add vitamins, fiber, and fresh flavor. Breakfast was also simple. Southern-style biscuits with molasses or gravy, sometimes with eggs and buttermilk if available. Looking closely, this is a very clear system. Starch for energy, beans or eggs for protein, a bit of fat for calories, and garden vegetables to fill the gaps. So the garden is not just for growing vegetables. It is what makes cheap meals more sustainable. From survival food to a self-sustaining garden. But just growing potatoes, beans, tomatoes, or cabbage only gives you ingredients. What matters more is the mindset behind it. No waste, stretching resources, turning little into enough. And in a home garden, that mindset can be upgraded into a self-sustaining system. Turn kitchen waste into soil nutrition. In hard times, potato peels could become soup, cooking water was saved, and leftover fat turned into sauce. In the garden, that logic does not disappear, it simply changes form. Vegetable scraps, old leaves, cabbage stems, coffee grounds, eggshells, a bit of leftover rice without oil. All can be turned back into compost. In the past, there was garbage soup to feed people. Today, you have compost to feed the soil. And when the soil is well fed, plants grow healthier, retain water better, and require less fertilizer. This is real savings, not just at the checkout, but starting from the foundation of the soil itself. Build an ecosystem, not just plant crops. A cost-saving garden is not just a few plants stuck into the ground. To truly reduce costs long-term, you need to build a living system behind it. In that system, worms process organic waste into compost, microorganisms break down nutrients so roots can absorb them more easily, mulch retains moisture and cools the soil, reducing watering needs, and plant roots improve soil structure over time. When these parts work together, kitchen waste is no longer waste. It becomes food for the soil. Fertilizer is not lost as quickly. Water stays longer, and plants have a more stable environment to grow. This is the difference between just growing a few vegetables and building a garden that can sustain itself. In the past, our grandparents used every bit of food to survive. Today, you can go further. Build a small system at home to reduce dependence and avoid scarcity from the start. Grow crops that extend your meals. In poor meals of the past, people always tried to stretch food. A small amount of meat could be mixed with rice, breadcrumbs, or oats to feed more people. In the garden, You can apply the same idea by choosing repeat harvest crops. Instead of plants that produce once and are done, prioritize cut and come again greens like lettuce, mustard greens, kale, continuous fruiting plants like tomatoes and peppers, and herbs like green onions, mint, parsley. A bundle of greens from the store is gone in one meal, but a patch of green onions, a herb plant, or a few tomato plants can feed you for weeks. The logic is simple. One ingredient should create many meals, and one plant should produce multiple harvests. Optimize space. Like they optimized food, in the past, nothing was wasted. Not a piece of meat, not a potato peel, not even a spoon of fat. In the garden, think the same way. Do not waste empty space. Tomatoes can grow vertically, while underneath you plant onions, herbs, or lettuce. Climbing beans use height instead of ground space. Fast-growing crops can be interplanted while larger plants are still developing. The mindset is the same. They optimized every ingredient in a meal. You optimize every centimeter of soil. A small garden does not need to be large. It needs to be well designed. Reducing dependence. The final goal, the most important point, is not growing 100% of your food. That is not realistic for most families. But if you can grow potatoes, beans, tomatoes, onions, leafy greens, and produce part of your own compost, you have already reduced your dependence. When you grow some of your own food, you buy fewer vegetables. When you compost kitchen waste and dry leaves, you reduce fertilizer needs. And when you learn to save seeds, propagate cuttings, or regrow plants, you rely less on store-bought seeds and seedlings. The cheapest way to eat is not buying cheaper food. It is having things you no longer need to buy at all. Enough calories. But is it nutritionally complete? Survival food meals are very effective in one way. They provide enough calories and keep you full. Potatoes, rice, and corn give energy. Beans and eggs add some protein. But if maintained long-term without adjustment, this type of diet can still lack micronutrients such as vitamin A, C, B12, calcium, iron, and even some complete proteins. In terms of protein, beans are good, but not complete on their own. That is why they need to be combined with starches like rice, corn, or bread to provide a full range of amino acids. In addition, if possible, you should include other protein sources such as eggs, milk, small fish, affordable meats, or soy. Even a small amount can significantly balance the diet. The rest comes from the garden. Leafy greens, tomatoes, carrots, cabbage help supply vitamins, minerals, and fiber that basic survival meals often lack. If you also add fats like animal fat, oil, or peanuts, the body can absorb nutrients more effectively. Simply put, survival food helps you get through difficult times. But for long-term health, you need an extra layer, diversifying protein sources and using the garden to fill nutritional gaps. Those cheap meals from the past were not special because of recipes, but because they helped people survive the hardest times. What is more interesting is that most of those ingredients are still within your reach today. You do not need to return to a life of scarcity. You just need to relearn a simpler way of thinking. Grow part of your food, use what you have, and reduce dependence. The garden will not make you completely self-sufficient, but it will help you move closer to it, step by step. And sometimes, just that alone is enough to make you feel less worried during difficult times.